guys, welcome to our masterclass on how to build your audience of ideal clients within 30 days. Yes, it is that simple. It is literally that simple to do, and it's that straightforward and it's that easy, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So when you come on, let me know that you're on and say hi, and obviously if you're watching the replay, do hashtag replay. And for anybody that's looking and going, does she have a bruise on her head? The answer is yes. Yes, I do have a bruise on my head. I had the most amazing weekend, and yesterday we were kayaking all day, and we were also paddleboarding, but the kayak tipped over a couple of times because we were in the sea and hit me on my noggin. So yes, I do have a bruise, and I thought I'd covered it up with makeup, but clearly I did not. For those of you that also know me, I'm not obviously in my own house at the moment, hence the reason we've got a completely different background and different lighting and all that jazz. But this is the fun thing of being able to work from anywhere that you want, that you get to make all of this work. So excuse me, I know we have a few new people in the group that are joining purposely for this masterclass. So for those of you that don't know me, are not familiar with me, what I do and what I teach and who I am, I'm Joanna Halloran. So it's lovely to meet all of you. I am a business success coach, and what I do is I show online female entrepreneurs how to go from 0 clients to consistent clients. I literally give you the framework to be able to do it and how to generate success from the very beginning, because I'm all about being able to build momentum rather than quick fixes. There's an awful lot of people out there that just teach sales, but what do you do in the background before that? Exactly, right? If you don't know, you don't know. How do you build a business when you have no idea what the framework looks like? And most people struggle in their first year of business and kind of plod along and try to figure it out themselves until they realize they can't, and that's when they go and seek help. And that's where you want to have your framework so that you can build, because we're here to build businesses. We're not here to build quick fixes. We're not here to just get to try and get rich quick and all that. It doesn't actually work like that. You want to be able to build momentum in your business, hey Kira, so that you can see consistent results. So for those of you that were on the Launch Your Coaching Business Masterclass, you've already seen what the general framework looks like. I'm just going to move this down so you can see it, what the general framework looks like. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to build your audience of ideal clients within 30 days. If you follow exactly what I'm telling you to do step by step, you will do this. If you put any conditions on it, and what I mean by conditions are, so again, if you haven't heard me talk before, I'll explain some things in a little bit more detail, but a condition is where you say, I'll do this if, or you attach feelings to it, or you're like, that sounds really nice, but I'm still going to do it my way. That's where most people fail in businesses, because they insist on doing it their way. That's not to say that your idea isn't brilliant, but if there's a method and a framework that works, why wouldn't you follow it? We don't follow it because it feels uncomfortable, it feels scary, it's all those yucky things that we don't want it to be. So if you follow this framework, it works. It works. It's worked for me, it works for my clients, so there's no reason that it won't work for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at what your 30 days looks like. Okay? What your 30 days looks like. So you better have a pen and you better have a notepad ready, because we are going to go quick. This is going to be an hour of constant on the go stuff. Can you let me know if you can see, just because I'm not in my own, obviously I'm not in my own office at the moment, so space and wise, I just want to make sure that, can you see this entire flip chart? Can somebody just put in the comments and let me know if you can see the entire flip chart? Because no point in me going on if you can't see it. It kind of defeats the purpose, you know? So if somebody could just say yes or no in the comments, that would be awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down what it looks like to have an audience of your ideal clients, and I'm going to take you from the very beginning, but I'm also going to show you what you do to get them from being cold into hot, because the hot ones are the ones that are ready to buy, cold or not. And most people concentrate on their cold audience and try and get them to buy, and then get frustrated when they don't. I've been there. So many people have been there. Yes, great. You can all say, hey, Danica. You can all say it. Sorry, we've all been there. So there's a difference between cold, warm, and hot, and I'm going to walk you through them. And cold is what most of us have. Most of us have a cold audience. And this is why it's really important to build momentum, because you want to be able to take people from cold to warm to hot, okay? So you want to go from cold to warm to hot, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And yes, I'm going to show you how to do it in 30 days. But right now, you got to get super committed and say that you are going to do this no matter what. I don't care what happens. We can all make up every single solitary excuse. The kids are going back to school. Somebody got COVID. You broke your leg, right? I'm not saying I don't care about those things. Of course I do. But that cannot be the reason that you don't do this. Life is always going to happen, and we want to make sure that we set ourselves up for success so that our business runs anyway, regardless of what happens. It's all about how we lead ourselves through life and how we lead ourselves through business. If you're only in the business game for if and when it suits you, you haven't taken your business seriously yet. We are here to be serious business owners and to have a legacy where we're consistently supporting people, and we're also supporting our own life too, because we need to be able to make money to live, right? So get in the commitment seat. You're in the driver's seat. Don't be in the passenger seat. Don't be in the back seat. Don't be in the boot. Get into the driver's seat and go, I'm going to drive this home no matter what. I'm not going to ask you to work 7 days a week. I'm not going to ask you to work for the next 30 days. What I am going to get you to do is to be committed to what your priority is. And for the next 30 days, it gets to be completely focused on building your audience. All right, so let's get going. The first thing you're going to do is we need to know exactly who your ideal client is, because how else are you going to attract them? Okay. This is important. The one thing I hear from every single solitary human that has come in contact with me in terms of a prospect call or my client is, yeah, but I can help everybody. I want to do this. Most people go to where they think the money is. That's where most people go. There are dollar and euro signs, just in case you're wondering. That's where most people go. That's not where you go. Okay? If that's what you're focusing on, stop right now, because you're never going to make money that way. Ever, ever, ever. To know who your ideal client is, I'm going to say this straight up now, right? If you are in the coaching business, probably if you're in the health and nutrition business, your ideal client is you. We just don't want to admit that. When I started off focusing on mums in business. What does that mean? I thought I was niching down. I was not. Because mums in business could be corporate mums, they could be like multiple different types of business owners. It doesn't work like that. And let me tell you why. If you were on the masterclass last week, you would have heard me talking about this. And if you do go to any of the Elevate Your Business talks that I do on a Thursday, and if not, make sure that you're joining them, because I'm giving you business nuggets. You can end up attracting people that can't afford to pay you, which defeats the purpose of what you're doing, because you're actually self-sabotaging and you're not setting yourself up to actually support people where they're at. If right now you know that you want to sell high ticket items, check and make sure that your ideal client can afford them. So what I mean by that is, you don't want to be saying, right, the best example I can give you is, if you're saying that you're going to teach somebody how to create a 6-figure online business, and you're asking them to invest 20 grand in you, but they're either like stay-at-home mums, for example, that don't have a partner, the likelihood of them being able to afford that is slim to none. So you want to be very clear on who your ideal client is, and whether or not they can pay you matters. So I want you to consistently, as we're going through this, be engaged and let me know what you're hearing and what's coming up for you. Okay? So in terms of your ideal client, how on earth do you figure out who they are? You're going to start off fairly broad, right? In terms of, like I said, me for mums in business. What does that mean? Who the hell knows, right? What does that mean now? What that now means is, I support female entrepreneurs who are in the online space, specifically coaches, consultants, and holistic therapists. Why? Because the framework to build out their businesses is identical. I mean identical. How do I know that? Because I've built them out for those three in particular. The amount of holistic therapists I have in my network is insane. The amount of clients I've had as holistic therapists is actually insane. And the framework for that in coaching is identical. They're identical. They're service-based. I also know that my ideal clients are between their first year and their third year in business, in that bracket. I also know that they haven't been able to generate consistent revenue or consistent clients, and that if and when they make an offer, they hold back. So I know that that's who my ideal client is. So I know there's a bit of inner work there. They've done some mindset work, but they still haven't learned to build their authority in their voice, and you need that. You need that to be a business owner. So share with me what you're hearing and what I'm saying in this. So the first thing you've got to do is build out your ideal clients, okay? I suggest if you do not know specifically who that is, do that in the next hour. Build out who your ideal client is, and remember, if you're a coach, it is highly likely it's you. So think about who you were before and who you were after. They are the best ways to do it. Do it based on emotion, right? Emotionally, how did you feel? Do you like my E? It's upside down. So emotionally, how did you feel? Physically, how did you feel? Where were you at from finances? Where were you at from relationships? That relationship includes yourself. What was your relationship like with yourself before and after? The biggest one that tends to be here for people is honesty. They're not honest with themselves before, so you can't be honest with who you are. Like before I did all my mindset work, never in a million years would I have said that I was a controller. And I don't mean as in like I controlled people, I controlled myself, but as in I was a controller, or that I was manipulative. And what I mean by that is I would orchestrate situations so that I could get my own way. Why did I do that? Because I needed to feel safe. But I would never have said that before. Vulnerability was not a thing I would have ever have done before. So, because I was terrified of not being loved. People would say it's being judged, but for me it wasn't being loved. I felt like I wasn't good enough. So how was I after? Now I know what my voice is. I use my voice all the time. So what's the before and after? You have got to get clear on this before we move into this. So share in the chat who is your ideal client and be as specific as you can. So like I said already, most people want to go where the dollar signs are, right? So as in, what's an obvious one at the moment? Like the 6-figure entrepreneur. That's an obvious one at the moment. Everybody's talking about it. It's either 6 figures or millions. And this is what I always say. If you have never had a 6-figure business before, how can you know how to build one? If you don't know what the foundations are of your business, how can you know? There's rungs of the ladder, right? So there's business essentials that you need in terms of like automations and all them. You need them, or else you're going to be dying inside, right? Then you need to know your audience. Then you need to know your messaging, and then your offers. Your offers are where the 6 figures will be created, but through this platform. This is your framework. So when you have people up here talking about 6 figures, which by the way is 6 figures in sales, which a lot of people don't tell you, it's 6 figures in sales. If you don't have all of this, how are you going to generate this? It's going to be super, super difficult, right? But yet at the moment, if you think about from an ideal client, where people focus on money is around here, how to generate 6 figures in your business. But you need all this to generate this. Is this likely in your first year? No. Is it possible? Yes. Likely? No. No. Kira, your ideal client is women in their 30s who are finding their career difficult mentally and personally. Okay, great. Now, Kira, this is where I want you to go one step further, right? So they're finding their career difficult. So what is it that's going to happen for them? What do they want? You need to know what they want. So now you know who they are, but what do they want? Is really important, right? Because this is where these two come into play. Okay, let's go to the next page. So note them. You always want the before and after, not just the before. You need to know who they are. So now my next favorite thing to talk about is, and I'm still going to keep these up here, cold, warm, hot, right? Because still we're here. We're still in the cold. You need to know where your ideal client hangs out. They do not hang out where you're comfortable. Kira, to find their purpose. Okay, again, to find their purpose in what? So that what? I went down this rabbit hole too, right? So they want to find their purpose in what? Is it in their life, in their career? Is it to get a place where they can channel what it is that they're meant to be doing? And if it is, what's the purpose of that? Is it so that they can have more freedom? Is it so they can have more time? Is it so they can build a business? You've got to go like laser in, like laser in. And if you're basing this on you, their life. Okay, great. So they want to find the purpose in life. So that what? So everything, right? When you're building out who you speak to, right? It's I help X to do X so that X. So for me, I help female coaches, consultants, holistic therapists build momentum in their business so that they can go from 0 clients to sold out. Freedom to travel. Okay, great. So then, Kira, you're then probably going down even. You're probably niching down even further. Then, like, would it be safe to say that the women in their 30s don't have children? Because if you're saying freedom to travel, because you'd want to be picking either or, because your messaging to them will be different. So if it's women that have children and they want freedom to travel, your messaging is going to be very different to women in their 30s that don't have children in terms of the freedom to travel. Yes, there's more. So keep going down like laser, go laser. Right, now you need to know where, we're still on cold, so now you need to know where your ideal client hangs out. My favorite tool to use, and again, if you've been hanging around in my community without kids, perfect, Kira. So my favorite tool to use is Sprout Social. I'm not an affiliate with them, I just personally love them. Sprout Social. They're a website. They also do blogs. On there, they can tell you exactly where your ideal client hangs out. And what I mean by hangs out is, are they on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook groups, Instagram stories, like where, like even down to times, like you can break it down an awful lot. But when I first started, I was told to go wherever I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable on Facebook because nobody could see me because I had very few friends and I could hide behind a business name. Great. Who's going to build an audience like that, right? Because when most entrepreneurs start off, you're actually quite nervous when you're putting yourself out there. So you do everything that's the opposite of what's going to generate success in your business. Does it make sense? No. Is that what most of us do? Yeah, right. However, what we want to do is we want to take the brakes off and drive you forward. So you need to know where they hang out. So like I said, I was hanging out on Facebook. Do you know I don't actually use my Facebook business page at all? If my VA did not manage it, it wouldn't be used. Why? Because nobody that is my ideal client hangs out on Facebook pages. They just don't. But yet I was told to go where I was comfortable. Where do my ideal client hang out? I know mine hang out on LinkedIn. And Instagram Reels. That's where mine hang out. That is where I concentrate. Can I also tell you something? If you are a business coach, if you are anything to do with any level of business and you are not focusing on LinkedIn, you are losing out. Losing out. Right now, I have close to 3,000 connections on LinkedIn. There is a total of 6 people out of 3,000 that are actively doing events on LinkedIn. Like, it is an untapped audience. Blows my mind. I literally teach this to my clients for those that have businesses, or like not businesses, but that focus on business. Here, you need to know where your audience hangs out. Get your tushies onto Sprout Social, or even another one that's like Sprout Social. If you Google it, you will find out to figure out where they hang out. This is important because you've got to focus and channel your energy just on them. Just on them. So you're probably asking, well, why do I have a Facebook group? Because I can bring everybody to one place to be able to focus and do like all different types of events. You want to be bringing all of these onto your email. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's incredible how many people either don't have an email list or don't even focus on their email list. This is king. This is like your gold. This is your diamonds. This is like your focus. Everything you do has to have a purpose. But you need to know where your ideal audience hang out. Kira, LinkedIn is fab. I get mails all the time. Yep. So know where they hang out, and that is the only place you're going to focus. I don't care if you're comfortable on whatever platform it is it tells you. That's where you get to focus, because it's actively giving you information as to where they are. Twitter isn't a great one, but for some people TikTok is like insane, because that's where they hang out. So know where it is, but like do it with education behind it, like as in that this is actual information. Okay, so now that you know who your ideal client is, number one. Number two, you know where they hang out. Number three, what do they Google? What do they Google? So how many times have you been to like either free events, or even if you went to like, if you did like business stuff, like either on like a course that you did, and they say to you around like how to connect with your audience and how to, speak to them with like, top tips and give them stories and short stories and all that fun stuff. And you're like, yeah, but what do I talk to them about? And they were like, talk to them about their pain points, talk to them about their pleasure points. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it straight up. What the fuck does that mean? Right? I had no clue. This drove me bananas. I honestly had no clue what I meant to say. Well, what's their pain points? What's their pleasure points? Because, going back to this sheet, if we do this based on us, right, the emotions matter, right? All this stuff matters. This here. But what are they Googling around that? They're not Googling how they feel, but yet you want to know how they feel, because when you're talking to people, when you're messaging, you've got to message them based on their emotions. Your content has to hit home with emotions. But you need to know what they're Googling. So if you think about, Ciara, if you're basing it on you, what did you Google when you were trying to figure out your purpose? Probably wasn't your purpose. I know for me, what was I Googling? I was Googling, I'll tell you what I was Googling. I was Googling how to get out of my job. How to make money so that I didn't have to be in my job anymore. That's number one, what I was Googling, right? And that's honestly. Number two, right? So what are they Googling? There's going to be a money element to it, right? If you're, say for example, if you're a nutrition coach, right? If you're a nutrition coach, it's going to be how to. How can I? So it's not about what, remember, your messaging is not, and it's going to be the same when we talk about offers on Thursday. It's not about what your program is, what your service is. It's about what people need. So money is going to be one element of it, right? But the other one is what do they want? So if you're somebody that's trying to figure out your purpose in life, you're going to be feeling unfulfilled, right? But what are they going to be Googling? If Ciara, like say for you, if you said there that people are going to want more freedom to travel, what specifically are they going to be Googling around travel? They could be Googling something like how do I take a career break so that I can travel, right? Or how do I save up my money to be able to take a career break to travel? Ciara, you're saying peaceful mindset, less stress. Yeah, but they're not words they're going to be using. So it's to figure out what words they're going to be using. So think about what they're going to be Googling. Just automatically think about what words they're going to be Googling, right? And the reason why I want you to do this at the get-go, right? So the majority of the time people are going to Google around finance, what they actually want. And they're also going to be Googling what they don't want. So think if you're a relationship coach, what do you think people are going to be Googling? So they're going to be Googling what they don't want, right? So if they're Googling what they don't want, like say if it's a woman looking for a relationship with a man, what are they going to be Googling? Probably something like, if I'm going very stereotypical here now, this is not my belief system, but I'm going very stereotypical, is, find somebody that doesn't cheat. How to find a narcissist. How to spot a narcissist in a crowd. Like, they're going to be stuff like that. Why do you need to know this? Because let's move on to the next phase. Remember I said I'm going to be going quick and smart. So these are the steps you want to do it in. So let's recap. Step 1. Who's your ideal client? Step 2. Their before and after. Step 3. Where do they hang out? Step 4. What do they Google? You with me? Okay. Step 5. We're still on cold. This all gets to be done in a day, by the way, right? This stuff gets to be done in one day. You do not need any longer. So if you put longer on yourself, I don't know if any of you have heard of Parkinson's law, but if you put any longer on it, it will take you that length of time. The shorter you give yourself, you actually take away all the noise and it gets done so much quicker. Okay, so one day to do all of this. Your next step is you got to speak to at least 10 people that fit into your ideal client bracket. So they can be in your phone book, they can be on your email, they can be on your Facebook page, they can be on LinkedIn, they can be on Twitter. I don't care where they're, but they fit, they fit into your ideal client. And then you ask them questions. What questions do you ask them? You ask them questions around their Google. So you literally call them, specifically call them up, pick 10 people that fit into your ideal client. And I'm going to say this to you, because this came up the other day at one of my clients. Call the people that you're most uncomfortable with first. That you know full well that you can help them, but they trigger you. Call them first. You're being triggered for one of two reasons. Either because they remind you of you, or they remind you of somebody that you don't like. Call them first, right? Call them first, because you want to remove the noise and not put yourself in a situation where you're going to sabotage. So always do the most difficult things first, or the things that feel most difficult. Okay, so when you contact these 10 people, what are you going to do? You're going to get to know them. Remember, every single solitary we do in business is not about us. Nothing is about us. Once you make it about yourself, you're, number one, you're quite selfish, which we all go through that phase, right? And the second thing is that you're actually not going to get the information you need to be able to serve your people in the way that they need to be served. So you want to get to know them. So you want to ask questions around what it is they're Googling at night. You're not going to ask them what they're Googling at night. You can do, but that's not how you're going to start off the conversation. You will start off by getting really connected with them and having a chat as you would anybody else. Like if you were to call up your best friend or your mum or your dad, how would you talk to them? Do you know, that kind of a conversation. And then talk to them about how they're getting on. So say from me, from a business point of view, I already know 10 people that I would pick up the phone and call and I'd chat to them and I'd be like, well, you had this business idea around X, how have you got on with it? What have you done? And they'll either say they've moved forward or they haven't, and if they haven't, why not? Get curious about it, really, really curious. And if they have, great, how's it going for you? Have you had any hurdles along the way? Share your own stories. But what you want to do is get as much information as you can. Why? Because you're going to pick the top team. This is crucial along the way of your business. From start to finish, you want to be doing this consistently. I built out these masterclasses because these are what were coming up every time I asked a question. If I asked a question in my Instagram stories, in this Facebook group, if I asked a question on my emails, if I sent out a survey, the same things were coming back. Don't have an engaged audience. Don't know how to make offers that convert. So then can't make sales. That's why I built this out. Because it's needed. You need to know what the top theme is. If you're following me on any of my profiles, you will see all I'm talking about at the moment is building your audience and creating offers that convert. Why? Because you asked for it. You asked for it. And this is where you start to move people from here to here. Okay? We're in this fuzzy area at the moment. I'm going to show you how to get them from here to here in a minute. Okay, so within one day, all of this should be done. No ifs, ands or buts. This gets to be done. You know what the top team is. From 10 people, and let me tell you this, if you've got something different from every 10 people, you haven't gone deep enough with your questions. There should be a team that comes out from the top 10 people. Or from the 10 people, sorry. There should be a top, why is that so hard to say? Top team. We'd say common theme. I can't say this word. A common theme that comes out, and that is what you're messaging. So when I say messaging, what I mean is your social media, your email, all that content is from this. You never have to figure anything out on your own, ever. I said this last week during the Launch Your Coaching Business workshop or masterclass. The amount of people that build out their program before they actually know what their audience needs is insane. It's insane. And then people wonder why they can't sell their program. How can you sell your program if you don't know what your audience needs? You can't. Because all you're trying to do is sell a program and you're making that about you. Offers are not about your program, which we were going to talk about on Thursday. Neither is your messaging. Your messaging isn't. Your messaging needs to be from a place of serving, not from a place of getting. Do we want call to actions and everything? Absolutely. Is it always about sales? No. All the T's, yeah, I know, I just can't do it. That's now common theme, okay? Common theme. Okay, so these are all important. Are you with me so far? So you have your steps. That right there is day 1. This will be day 2. You get to do out your content based on what the common theme is. Email content, social media content. And now I'm going to show you how to get people from cold to warm to hot. Okay? So all day 1, this gets to be day 2. To spend 1 day on content is loads. Otherwise you'll overthink it. Okay, we're moving on. Feels so weird having such a small flip chart. I'm so used to having my big one. Okay. Now the fun part. Cold. Okay. So what's cold leads? Cold audience. So cold audience is somebody that has stumbled across your page and they've liked it. So that can be anything. That can be like a connection on LinkedIn. That can be a like on your Facebook, a like on your Instagram. Anything like that. That's cold. What that means is that they've seen you, but they're not actually bothered with you as of yet. They're not. So how do you get them from here to here? Pay attention, because you get to move on this really, really quickly. You can let all your excuses come up. You can let all your conditioning come up. You can let all of your self-doubt and worries and concerns come up. Or you can actually make this happen in 30 days, okay? What's your commitment? Is your commitment to do it in 30 days? If you're committed, say, I'm committed. And if you're not, let me know your reason why not. I can't support you if I don't know why not. By the way, I had 8 months of saying I was committed, but I really wasn't. Just so you know. Okay, so how do you get them from cold to warm? Most people will go lead magnet. I'm going to give you 2 answers to this, yes and no. Okay, so in here is your content. Your content matters, even if you don't have an audience. Like as of right now, just say your audience is 0, right? Say you've got no Facebook followers, you've got no Instagram followers, you've got nobody on LinkedIn, right? Your content still matters. So your content gets to be focused on whatever the common theme was that came up from your market research. Kira, I will do my level best. No, you're just committed. That's it. Committed. Just committed. I learned something really fun actually from one of my mentors there last year, and he was talking about commitment. His name is Mike Strasner, and you know the way, for anybody who's in Ireland, right? So Kira, you might get this, right? We will say like that, I'll do my best, or I'll be more committed, or I'll be, you know, the next time I'll do this. And I always remember this and giving it out to me, and he say, Joanne, you're either committed or you're not. You can't be more committed. You either are or you're not. I was like, thanks for calling me out, Michael. Thanks for calling me out. But he's so right. You're either in or you're out. And that's the way you have to look at this, because anything else is all conditioned. It's how you feel. I'll do this when it looks like this. So you're either committed or you're not. Okay, so your content matters. So your content is focused solely on your common themes. So like you can create that content in lots of different ways, right? You can do it like the before and after, the what to do, what not to do. Rinse and repeat it over and over and over again. But you want to constantly have call to actions. Your call to action, and this is how you're going to do this in 30 days. Your call to action gets to be to a lead magnet. Lead magnets that do not convert are workbooks. Do not convert, right? So don't use them. But a lead magnet, the lead magnet, needs to be specifically focused on that common theme. Now, again, how are you going to get people to warm? They have to opt into your lead magnet to become warm. Because now once they're in here, they're on your email. Something I want you to know is, right, write this number down. 5% of your email list is always ready to buy from you. Okay? So if you had 300 people, which is an incredibly small email list, say you had 300 people on your email list, 10% of that is 30, which means that there's 15 people in there that are ready to buy from you. Now, if you are somebody who has never had clients or has been inconsistent with clients, 15 clients is incredible, right? I think that's fair to say. 15 clients is incredible. So know that. So for every time you ignore your email list or you choose to not bring people on your email list, this is what you're leaving behind. When people talk about selling on social media, they're actually selling them by bringing them in here, selling to them by bringing them in here, and then they sell to them. They don't actually sell to them directly on social media. They'll tell you they do, but they don't. Okay, now here's a cool trick. This is where your 30 days comes in, right? Because on Thursday, when I show you how to create offers that convert, will be at the end of your 30 days. All right. So here's where we're going to get into the fun part. So you get them from cold to warm, through your content, through a call to action, to a lead magnet. How do you get them hyped up about your lead magnet? Obviously, you're going to have stuff in like your stories, your reels, your posts, your lives, right? All of that you get to do. What you're also going to do, put it down here, is collaborate. You get to find at least 5 people that speak specifically on the topic of your lead magnet. You collaborate with them by going live with them in your first 21 days. You're automatically in front of their audience. 2 people talking about the same thing. Your offer for people to access the lead magnet while you're on that live that then stays on that person's page. That is liquid gold, my friend. Liquid gold. Okay? So I recommend doing it back to back to back. So as in doing, like if you're doing 5, do like Monday to Friday or Sunday to Thursday, whatever you do, but back to back to back into your lead magnet. Your call to actions from your reels gets to be your lead magnet. All of this gets to go into your lead magnet, and make sure that you're tagging the people that you're collaborating with on there. So we all know people that fit into this. So now they're in here, so they're warm. So as soon as they opt in, they're warm. In here, you bring them into a welcome sequence. Bring them into a welcome sequence. Who knows what goes into a welcome sequence? Or what you should ideally put into a welcome sequence? Do you know? Let me show you. Welcome sequence. So obviously the first one is congratulations, here's your piece, but that doesn't count as the first welcome. So the first one should be get to know me. So the briefest of introduction about who you are and what you do, and how they can get the best from the lead magnet. How do they best implement it? Right? Number 2 is where you started. So like, where was your Google point, right? So share Google star point, right? So start with your Google star point. Your third one then is your aha moment. Where was your oh my goodness? We all have those moments. We all know exactly where we were sitting when something happened, right? Then your fourth one is your transformation. Number 5. Who knows what number 5 is? Anybody know what number 5 is? So you're going to get to know me. Your Google starting point. That's what I like to call it. Your aha moment, your transformation. And 5 is how it all came together. Why do we do that? You will find that your open rate will be very high because they're engaged from the moment that they come in. Your emails will be like up the top of their inbox. Make sure that they go out at the same time every day. Every day. So you follow these. Get to know me, your Google starting point, your aha moment, the transformation, and how it all came together. What are you going to do on day 6? You're going to invite them into some sort of a workshop or an offer, right? So a live event. People need at least 8 touch points with you before they'll be ready to buy from you, right? You do it through this. They become hot when they're here and they're signing up to your event. So think, they'll have seen you here, they'll have seen you here. You want to have people 80% of the way there, as in ready to say yes to you. How do you do that? By consistently giving them things that they want. Consistently. They get to hear very quickly. Very, very quickly. Let me know in the chat if you're using this already. Are you using this method? Just say yes if you are and no if you're not. So within 21 days, you want to get them from here to here, because you're going to be inviting them into a live event. How do you know what the live event is? Ask. Like I said, I generated these masterclasses because this is what you told me you wanted. I didn't make it up. How did I generate the lead magnet? Because you told me what you wanted. I didn't make it up. Even after I generated the lead magnet, I still ask questions. I got the same feedback, is that they want to know how to implement it. Great. So I've created live events to be able to do that. So follow this sequence. Okay, so let me write it out again for you, so that it's a lot more legible. Okay, and I'm going to stand in front of it just so I can write clear. Okay, so cold to warm. Okay, how do you do that? So you do it with your call to actions, your content, lead magnet, live sequence, collapse. Okay, so this is how you get them from cold into here. Okay, you're going to attract new people in from doing this, right? How do you get them to warm? From this, you bring them into your email. Okay, people are not warm until they get onto your email, or possibly your DMs, but you still want, if you cannot convert them over, then how warm are they? You want to get them onto your email. Okay, when they're in your email, so how do we get them to hot? You want to bring them into a sequence. Over 6 days. Okay, day 6, is invite them into a live event through you're gonna invite them into a live event. The people that, so from a conversion rate point of view, just so you know, right? The people that say yes to attending a live event, say for example you get 100, the people that will actually, like, even if they opt in, right? So say you get 100 opt-ins into a live event, those that will actually take the next step is about 25% of that. 25% of that then will show up live. 25% of that then again will convert on average. Okay, on average. That's not to say it can't be more or it can't be less, but it can be. But that is your 30 days, right? Because up here, day one. So day one is your ideal client avatar. And I have 10 questions, but then you speak to 10 people, right? Day two then, because you want to get your common theme. Day two is your content. Based on your common themes, right? Day 3 to 24, you with me? Day 3 to 24 is all of this. And 24 to 30 is into your live event. And then on Thursday, I'm going to show you how to do your offers. That is your flow. That's your funnel. Start shouting out your questions to me so I can answer them for you. And guess what? You get to repeat this, right? Repeat, repeat, repeat. Over and over and over. At least 50% of your business activities want to be focused on audience generation. Too many people spend their time focusing on sales. Way too many people are just spending so much time on sales. If you don't have this, what's the point in focusing on sales? Who the hell are you selling to? You don't need a big audience to sell to, like I already showed you. But you do need an audience. So shout out your questions. What can I share with you on this to make this process simpler for you? What do you want to know? Your job is to get people from cold to hot. Hot are so easy to sell to. So incredibly easy to sell to. Because they know, like, and trust you, because they have followed you from here to here. Do I have people that, like, I have one lady, I love her. She found me on Instagram Reels, started binging my Instagram Reels in the space of a couple of hours, booked a call with me, and then was in. Is that normal? No. They're rarities. Would I love that to happen all the time? Absolutely. Is that likely to happen? No. There's no reason why you cannot do this, even in a quicker time frame. But when you're starting off, you want to build up. You want to build up. You've got to get in front of your ideal audience. You can absolutely do it the painfully slow way, and like drop into Facebook groups and, you know, go to networking events and all that. This is a much quicker way of doing it. And it's proven time and time and time again that it works. Time and time and time again. Bring people from cold to warm, too hot, and then rinse and repeat. So at least 50% of your business activities for the year gets to be focused on audience generation. If I was you, alright, just going to give you an extra bit. If I was you, right, this would be audience building, right? So at least 50%. I would spend probably 25% selling. What do you think I'd spend the other 25% business activities doing? What do you think? What would you spend the other 25% doing? This doesn't include now my time off. I only work the first 3 weeks of every month. And then I take the last week to 10 days or whatever off, unless I choose to do masterclass like this, but then that's my only business activity. But what do you think the last 25% would be? So 50% is audience build and 25% is selling. What's the last 25%? Share in the chat box. Curious what you would focus that on, because it does matter. Truly matters. Put into the chat. Nurturing. Who are you nurturing? Your warm people. Those that haven't come down to here yet, nurture them. Nurture, 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 nurture. You're consistently nurturing these because you're constantly pumping out content, right? But these get to be nurtured in a whole different way. A whole different way. So Kira, yeah, repeat is essentially what you're doing when you're nurturing them. You want to get to know them deeply. Because more often than not, when people don't move, say when they don't buy from you but they're still hanging around in your community, there's something missing, right? So it's either your messaging isn't landing with them, or they haven't got, there's something in the gap between them saying yes. And more often than not, it's the trust in themselves to actually move this forward. And it's funny, I had this conversation with my best friend earlier on today. So she has had her business, God, I'd say for about a year and a half now, and we were talking about the way that she invests and her thoughts around money. And at the very start of her business, she was making decisions about her business based on the physical money that she had in front of her, right? So, like when she was signing up to her business coach, all she could see was, this is how much it's going to cost me, right? So say for example, it costs 15 grand, and she's like, I don't have that money. But she wasn't thinking, okay, but you're investing in a business coach so that you can make money, right? She's going to show you how to make the money, therefore you're going to make money. But that mindset wasn't there. She was doing it based on the here and now, not what she was going to get. What does that boil down to? That boils down to her not trusting herself. Number one, to follow through on what the business coach was going to tell her. And number two, on her ability to be able to do it. So you will have a good few people that are in that situation, but don't know that they're in that situation. There's so many people that are in that situation and don't know it. All they can see is like, oh, I don't have the money right now. It's like, but you do. Because if something happened and you absolutely had to make something a priority where you needed to get the money, you would do it. That's not where the focus is on your business right now. You're not seeing it as a priority. You're seeing it as a nice to have and that you'll do it when. But they're not seeing that there's a condition on this. And the thought of investing means that they have to have the money right now. But it's a vicious cycle, right? Because if you don't have the money right now, when are you ever going to have it? Because you don't know how to go get it. Which is why you're paying somebody to show you how to do that, to take away all the months. Like I can think there's a couple of people that are in my community and they've been there for 18 months and the cycle is still the same. I'll do this when, I'll do this when. But yet 18 months down the road, they still haven't done anything. So they're never going to do it when, because they're not actually committed to it. Gary, I see you wrote there, spend money to make money. Yes, that's a really old saying. Yes, it is that. But it's actually, it's that and, right? So when you make an investment, you always want to get at least double your investment back. That's roughly what you want to be doing. But you have to trust in yourself to do it. A lot of people think that when you invest, your problems are going to instantly go away and things are just going to, just come really easily. But we have to do the work. We have to do the work. Like I've invested over 30 grand in my business coach. Am I getting that back? Absolutely. And then some, a lot of some. But there's other people that have invested in her that are not. What's the difference between me and them? Like you have to remember, we're all people, right? We're all human. We all have thoughts, we all have feelings. Our education has nothing got to do with it. It's got to do with our application of the information that we're given. And whether or not we're committed or we're not. There's a difference between interested and committed. People that are here and haven't budged to here are only interested. They're not committed, because there's a big difference. When you're committed, you will do whatever it takes. So like I was saying with you when I was having the conversation with my best friend earlier on, we were only talking then. So that was a conversation we were having, and we were saying how her mindset is very different now. When she invests now, she's not going, do I have the money? She's like, no, what's the return that I'm going to get? And what is the effort I'm willing to put in? Your results are the sum of your efforts, right? But your efforts got to be focused on what are going to generate the results. That's why I asked you whether or not you were committed to following through on this within your 30 days. If you're not, it's not going to happen. And what do we do when we go to something like this and we get all of this information? It doesn't happen. All those self-doubt come in, and we're like, well, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I was never going to be able to do it anyway. My mother was right, my father was right, my teacher was right, my coach was right, you know, my best friend was right, my husband was right, my wife was right. Why? But you're just not following it. You're not committed to actually seeing it through. You're committed to being comfortable. And for as long as you're committed to only doing what's comfortable, you're never going to get the results. Never. Because you can't get results that you don't know how to generate. So, this is your sequence. Day 1, you want to know what your ideal client is, what your avatar is, where they hang out, what do they Google at night, talk to 10 people, and ask them questions to figure out what the common theme is, not the top theme, the common theme. Your common theme then will determine your content. Okay? Will determine your content. Your content gets to be focused on the common theme, so very specific, very, very specific. You are then going to take a cold audience. Anybody that you have in your network right now is possibly this, but you got to see them as this and bring them through. You bring them through to your content, call to action, your lead magnet, which gets to be very specifically focused on whatever that common theme was, and then do live sequence with people that have a high audience, a highly connected audience, and you get to offer your lead magnet to everybody who's on that live, and they get to post it on their page or group or whatever it is, as well as yours. Anybody who opts in is now warm. You've got to move them from warm to hot through your email sequence. Bring them on a sequence over 6 days. Day 6 is where you're going to invite them into a live event. How are you going to know what the live event is? You're going to ask them. You're going to ask them when in here what it is that they specifically need around whatever this is. Day 24 to 30 is the invitation sequence to your live event. Whatever your live event is. If it's a masterclass, if it's a workshop, if it's a challenge, if it's a virtual event, if it is a retreat, it doesn't really matter. But whatever you're inviting them into. And then in there, you will then make your offer. Remember, 5% of your audience are always ready to buy from you on your email list. And then this is what I recommend you do. 50% of all business activities gets to be on your audience generation, and then 25% selling, 25% of nurturing your warm audience. And that is how you build out your audience of ideal clients within 30 days. And then you rinse and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. Make sure that you apply this. This is what I do. Mine looks slightly different now, obviously, because I've been in business for a while, but this is what I did. But in terms of asking questions, like I said, I consistently ask them. I don't necessarily call people anymore, but I consistently ask, and then I give you what you ask for. And it's always fascinating as well. This is where you'll see where people sit here, is when you give somebody what they ask for and then they still don't buy. This is what we were talking about there earlier on, is why that is. And when we're talking about your offers on Thursday, I'm going to tell you how to speak into that so that you can move past them. All right, so keep dropping your questions in. I will stay in the chat for a while and I will answer any questions that you have. And for those of you that are joining me on Thursday for your offers that convert, I will see you then. I highly recommend you go back and have a look at the Launch Your Coaching Business one if you haven't seen it yet, because it gives you the framework. Then into your audience build, then into your offers, and then how to get your consistent 5-figure launches. I'm telling you, you're set up for success here. You really are. Chat to you soon. Have a lovely evening.